what are setbacks that you've had along this journey, and what have you learned from those?
Setbacks of having, having difficulties getting the trainers primarily who are patterned, who spent time underneath a mentor, and they were given information and they saw the patterns, and that trainer would have success, and then they break out and go on their own. And then, a couple trainers on the East Coast here in this barn, they have a problem doing something different, doing something that goes against what they learned from their mentor. And that's sort of what we're doing. I mean, I don't want to disrupt horsemanship as it stands. I just want to add to it and change it a little bit. But sometimes that change has been problematic and get into, little pissing matches and bickering. And then you have to decide if the person can fit the role that you want them to play. And if not, you have to move on.
Okay, so what's an example of a pissing match or bickering you got into with a trainer, and how did it ultimately get resolved?
So I had a horse that a trainer thought was just garbage, but the horse had won several races at 6 furlongs, running very competitive times. 1:10 for 6 furlongs on the East Coast on a fairly deep track is a competitive time. And the horse is really fast out of the start, so generally can get to the front of a race and then makes it 6 furlongs and runs a very competitive time. A Breeders' Cup sprint type time is 1:08, 1:09 sometimes. So it's barely a second off of at a minute and 10. It's barely a second off, which is 8 lengths of a 8 horse lengths. So this horse to me had demonstrated really pretty good class, a good ability to win races. And the trainer said, I want to run her in a cheap claiming race. She's garbage because she had 2 bad races in a row. She was last, and I said, wait, whoa, let's give it some time, see if we can get her to come around, see if we can figure out what's bothering her, because obviously the 2 races she ran in were nowhere near her 2 efforts, or even 3 efforts before that. They were much stronger.
And how do you find out about this? The trainer called you on
so I'm in constant contact with them about, okay, we're going to enter this horse in this race. What do you think? And a claiming race is dangerous because you can lose the horse. Somebody comes in, if in this case, that horse had won 2 very decent races, a person can come in and say it's a $25,000 claiming race. They put money, $25,000 down, and they say, I want to claim that horse. And if no one else puts in a claim at the end of the race, they take the $25,000, it goes to the owner of the horse, and the horse goes with the person. It's a sale in the midst of a race, whether the horse wins the race or not. And that's a problem because you don't have any control over whether they claim it or not. And there's other races that I wanted to be in that were not claiming races that I thought were just as competitive, that the level would be the same. There was no difference except that I didn't stand to lose a horse for $25,000 that I thought could easily make $50,000 or $100,000 in the next couple starts if we figured her out. And his argument was that I was an idiot and didn't know what I was talking about.
And the horse literally was garbage. Said that to you?
Yeah, the horse was garbage, and that that I should listen to people who knew what they were doing. And I said, okay, well that's that then. I mean, I'm not going to leave the horse with you if you think it's a bad horse. And I'm not going to let you put in a claiming race. And a lot of times, I mean, not that was the case in this instance, but people will, if you're an owner and you spent $500,000 on a horse and you give the horse to me to train, and I'm training the horse, and I say this horse is pretty badass, pretty awesome horse. I'm gonna advise you after we run it 2 or 3 times. I sabotage the races in one way or another. Whether it's feeding the horse badly, making sure the horse doesn't win, and I go to you as the owner and say, hey, that horse is garbage. It's it's just no good. I want to put it in a $25,000 claiming race. The owner generally trusts the trainer and says okay. The trainer goes to his buddy and says, hey, claim this horse for 25 grand for me. The guy puts in 25 grand. You just bought a $500,000 horse for 25 grand. Then you turn it around, you train it real, you put it in another race, and it wins you $500,000 over the next year and a half. And it's not common that happens, but it happens, it does happen. And especially when somebody's pushing you hard to put a horse into a claiming race, when you've seen the horse run at a much higher level than that, it's too suspicious to not say, sorry, no, we're not doing that. And it's not unheard of for all that stuff to happen on a regular basis.
So how did you handle it when the trainer's calling you an idiot?
I mean, I'm always the same way. I said, look, buddy, I'm not your enemy here. I'm telling you, I'm the owner of the horse. It's my decision at the end. you know, and I respect your opinion, but that's all it is, you know, it's an opinion. And if you're not going to run things the way that I want them run, I'm going to find a different trainer. And, you know, that it's hard to continue to be irrationally mad and pissed off when somebody treats things just, it's a business relationship and no hard feelings, but simply it's a transaction.
Right.
I'm paying you and you're getting paid and you're getting money to do a certain job. If you can't do it, then we part ways and good luck. And, you know, I hope you have success somewhere else. But that's kind of always the way that I am. I also intend to be in the sport for a long time, so you don't want to go pissing people off if you can help it. And you
Right.
want to try to treat people respectfully because, you know, it is a small industry and you have to treat people well.